I have an ambitious TBR for my new channel, but maybe it's too ambitious? Welcome to Matt on Books. I'm Matt, and I talk about fantasy, mostly, science fiction sometimes, and comics occasionally. So when I had the idea to start this channel, I had a big TBR idea. I mentioned in my first video back in 2020, middle of the pandemic, I was basically under lockdown alone in my flat, and my best friend was the Malazan Book of the Fallen. As soon as I finished, I wanted to reread it, but I was a little overwhelmed. It can be very intense, so I took a break. I decided I would definitely reread it. And what better time to reread it than when you've just started a booktube channel? So my TBR is the Malazan Book of the Fallen. If you're not into Malazan at all, stay tuned. It's not the only thing I'll be reading. Basically what I'm doing is what I'm calling a Malaz everything read. What does that mean? So Malazan, if you're not familiar with it, is made up of lots of different books. There's the primary series written by Steven Erikson, which is the Malazan Book of the Fallen, which is 10 books. That's all of these. Then there are a whole bunch of side novels. These are some, but not all of them. Written by Erikson and also by his friend Ian C. Esselmont. They created the world together, and they've been fleshing it out with a whole bunch of extra side prequels, sequels, sidequels, novels that can be read outside of the primary series. So when I had the idea to start this channel, I wasn't able to start immediately. I was waiting for my computer, I was waiting for my microphone, I was waiting for various things to come together. So I already started. So I'm rereading the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I've already read The Gardens of the Moon. I will be putting up a video about it shortly. And after reading that, I remembered how intense Malazan books can be. So my TBR plan is, firstly, to reread the Malazan Book of the Fallen, to also read all of the side novels of Malazan, but in between every one of them, to insert something else entirely. So after reading Gardens of the Moon, I read The Gutter Prayer by Gareth Hanrahan. I know Gareth from role-playing. He has been a role-playing game writer for decades, maybe. And I'm familiar with his work there, and I was super excited when he put out a novel, his first, as far as I know. And it's actually a trilogy with potentially a fourth and fifth book coming. So my TBR so far looks like Gardens of the Moon. Gardens of the Moon, Gutter Prayer. Then I read, and I've already finished it, Dead House Gates, the second book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And right now I am reading The Shadow Saint, which is the sequel to The Gutter Prayer, the second book in what's called the Black Iron Legacy. And I'll be doing a video about this as well. And after that comes another Malazan book, Memories of Ice. Memories of Ice is the next Malazan book. And then I'll be finishing the Black Iron Legacy, or at least the trilogy that is out so far, with The Broken God, Gareth Hanrahan, and another Malazan book. And then I've got kind of a mix of things that I'm thinking about doing. First of all, I have to say that I am potentially a little bit fantasy comedy scarred. When I was a teenager, I read all of Piers Anthony's Xanth books. That may have been too much. I haven't read any other fantasy comedy, but after reading so much Piers Anthony, and it being so tightly connected in my mind to a time when I was young, immature, silly, I have a feeling about fantasy comedy being immature and silly. I've decided to break that. People like Raf Blutaxt and Derry's Read It Before have made me rethink that. And I will be inserting between Malazan books some Discworld. I've never read any Discworld. I've heard from many, many people that I should, and I've decided to shake off this concept that I have in my head about it being stupid, immature, silly, whatever. And I will be giving it a go. I found these gorgeous hardbacks with foil and bookmark ribbons. And I bought 3 of them. If you are a publication order only fanatic, please don't at me. I know that it's a series, but it's 41, 42 something, 40 something books long. And I read around, I saw some articles and some interesting people talking about it. And they said, really, you can start with a chunk. Sounds like they separate Discworld up into a bunch of different series that are only tangentially connected. And the City Watch, Guards being the first of the City Watch series, the City Watch sounded like the most interesting to me. So I got Guards. I got, I think the second one is Men-at-Arms. And I got Feet of Clay, which has this sexy red foil on the cover. I also just love these as objects. Some books are just containers for words. Some of them are such nicely made objects that it's just really nice to handle them. And I'm looking forward to reading these and giving Discworld a chance. Other things that I'll be inserting in between books of the Malaz Everything Re/Read are Malice by John Gwynne. Everybody's been talking about this. I've been watching John Gwynne's son's booktube channel, The Brothers Gwynne. They are awesome. It sounds like John Gwynne is a guy I'd love to have a beer with. So I'm giving Malice a go. To be honest, I'm slightly nervous about that because it's another big chunky thing with lots of material. But I will never be one to complain about there being too many good books to read. So Malice will be in there somewhere. Another one that everyone's been talking about, Jade City by Fonda Lee. It sounds like maybe it won't be so much my thing, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm not really that keen on Just Like Now, but with magic. Kind of doesn't really do for me what I'm reading fantasy for, but it sounds like it's really worth giving a chance. So I'll be at least reading the first book of that and we'll see how it goes. First of all, I can't promise to read these in any particular order. If you're extremely keen to see me read Discworld as soon as possible, let me know in the comments. But I will definitely be finishing the Black Iron Legacy first. So that's at least another 3 books before I'm done with that. Then it's another Malazan book. And after that one, we will see what my mood says. Maybe I'll delve into Discworld or maybe Malice or Jade City. We'll see. As far as the Malaz Everything Re/Read, that is going to take me, I think, until maybe the end of next year. I haven't counted them myself, but I think it's a total of 26 books, and I've only read/reread 2 of them so far. So that will be a constant companion for the next year and a half, I think, at least. Maybe longer, we'll see. I'll try and stick with it. I do tend to be someone who reads by mood. So maybe I'll hit a point where I'm just like, okay, I need a break from Malazan and I'll jump into other things. We'll see. But like I said, if you have any strong wishes as far as Discworld, Jade City, or Faithful and the Fallen, Malice, let me know. I'm a mood reader, so I may end up just going with whatever feels right at the time. But I will definitely be digging into Malazan in a big way. For the Malaz Everything Re/Read, I'm following concurrent publication order. It's because it's such a big thing with well over 20 books, it's really kind of difficult to decide how to read them, and there are lots of different opinions. The Malaz Reddit has huge discussions on alternate reading orders and all sorts of things. I've decided to follow the concurrent publication order just because it's the simplest. So it has, because I've already read the Malazan Book of the Fallen, I'll be inserting in appropriate chronological places based on when they were published the other novels by Stephen Erickson, Ian C. Asimont. I don't recommend this for a first-time reader, and I'm going to do some videos about a Malazan Book of the Fallen user's manual, user's guide. It's an interesting thing to read, but if you've never read it before and you're interested in starting, definitely just read the 10 books, the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. Start with those, and then you can add in the other ones afterwards or do a reread like I'm doing. A lot of people I know who have finished the series said that they immediately felt like they wanted to reread it. Seems to be a common phenomenon. But for this Malaz Everything Read, I will be doing concurrent publication order. So Memories of Ice next, and then after that I've got one of the short stories of Beauchelin and Corbel Broach, and then we'll see. I don't have the list in front of me. One side note, I'll never tell anybody how to pronounce made-up fantasy words. The author pronounces it one way. As long as he's a relaxed author like Stephen Erickson, he doesn't care how you pronounce it. But one of the things I don't know if everybody is conscious of is Malazan is an adjective, and it's an adjective that follows the rules of English. So if you pronounce it Malazan, then you also have to pronounce it American and Canadian and Australian. I'm kind of joking. I'm not going to tell anyone how to pronounce anything, but it's just good to keep in mind that Malazan is an adjective that describes anything from Malaz, the island. So tell me down in the comments if you have a preference, what I should read first, other than Malazan, and if you have a TBR as long as mine and what's on it. As always, keep reading awesome books, and I'll see you next time.